Hey guys, five Python essentials for every new programmer. Today, we're going over the basics. We're going to go over print statements, variables. We're going to go over user input, if statements, and then loops. We're going to go over all this together. Any point y'all got questions, let me know. All right, print statements. So print statements is one of the most basic things in Python. You use it to output things that your program is doing, so that you can see what your program is doing when you're running your program. Okay. So the most basic way to do this, write the word print, some parentheses, quotations, and then type something, save your file, and we're going to run it in our terminal. Right now, our program is going to print the word hello world, the words hello world with an exclamation mark. We're going to run our program. I need to enter my directory so I can access my file. I run Python 3 with the name of this file. And I just saved this as Python basic. Sorry, Python basics. Press enter, and look, our program is in the world. It says hello world. It's just poof, magical AI coming to life. All right, we're about to code an AI, guys, in the next video. Um, so just stay tuned. So this is the most basic print statement. And if I wanted to print multiple things like, hello again, I can make a brand new line, save my file, and then run it. And it says the output. Okay. So right now our program is just doing what we're telling it to do. If I wanted to do all of this in one line, um, I could do something like we could do triple quotations. There's three quotations here, and I can do three quotations at the bottom. I'm just going to make them all in the same line, so it looks all nice. Um, Hello world. Everything is on different lines, but I used triple quotations. All right. Wow. Now be amazed. Magic trick. What do you think is going to happen when I save and rerun this file? It's going to print this and it's going to print this. Let me show you. Whoa, look at that. Isn't that cool? So notice I only use one print statement. So let me put this side by side actually so we can see it better. I only use one print statement, and instead of, basically making this a print statement, and this a print statement, and the one below a print statement. It's all in one. This triple quotation just allows me to write multiple lines in one print statement. And lo and behold, look on the left side, it prints everything, including this empty space here. So if I didn't want this empty space, I could just delete it all, press save, and run it, and there it is. And notice this empty line. This empty line is equivalent to this, like all of this empty space here. And then this empty line is equivalent to this empty space here. So this empty line, and you can't even see it. Let's fix that. There you go. So this, all in all, this is print statements, the most basic thing, and you can do a lot of cool things with print statements. You can actually make programs like tic-tac-toe, which we might do in the future. Um, so we'll get to that later. Variables. Variables are, it's the way for a program to store things in memory. For example, imagine you have a box and you can put something in the box. You can label this box as, let's say, I don't know, a calculator. This box has a calculator, so I'm going to call the box a calculator. At any given time, I can open the box and access the calculator. I can put a calculator, I can put two calculators in the box if I wanted to, and I can rename it. But the whole point of a variable is that it stores information, it stores something, and it can change at any given time. Okay. The way that we write variables in Python, you can call a variable a variable. And for our instance, we're going to call it a calculator because I use that as my box analogy. Calculator. And I'm going to create, um, I'm going to say that my calculator is a calculator. So what I'm saying here is this. this is my variable. Calculator is the name of my variable, and I am setting it equal to this sentence is a calculator. And what I can do is I can take my variable and I can print my variable right here. This print statement is a calculator. I am just saying, I'm just printing what's in my box, which is this phrase is a calculator. Okay, so you can do a lot of fun things with variables and print statements together. For example, I can make a formal sentence, this, with a space and a plus sign. I'm going to lowercase this, save it. This is a calculator. Even better, this variable, the space, this variable is a calculator. It literally is a calculator. You know what I'm saying? This variable calculator, right? This is a calculator. Is a calculator. Anyways, this is the essence of calculators, and um, I can make variables like the number one. I can make it number one. I can. I don't know what other things I can do. Well, this is the basics. Calculator number one, and I can say something like, this is number one variable. This print statement is going to print both of these variables in a sentence. I save it, run it. Oof, that's not what you want. I need a plus sign right here. What? This is number one variable. Huh? What is happening? Can only concatenate strings. Oh, I see. So this is, yeah, yeah. This has to be a string. Well, I can make it like this. There you go. Much better. Much better. This is this is one variable is a calculator. Wow, that is terrible English. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? One thing to point out is notice how this is like a double quotes, but this is like a single quote. Two different ways to do it in Python. You can use double quotes, single quotes, kind of a preference thing. Um, Even up here, actually, you might have noticed earlier, this is a single quote. These are double quotes. So, what is your favorite? Let me know. Let's see. So that's essentially what a variable is. You put some information in a box, you can call it something, you set it equal to something, and that's what the variable becomes. Okay. So that's essentially what a variable is. Next thing that we're going to walk through is something called user input. This is a way for your Python program to prompt the user for some information. The way that we do this, and I'm going to actually add what we call a comment. This pound symbol in Python just allows me to write something. So for example, print statements. So this section is all about print statements. This is a comment, so Python is not going to run this as code. It basically, this pound sign is a keyword that says, hey, Python, whenever you see a pound sign at the beginning of a sentence, or at any point, I could do a comment here. Just ignore everything after the pound sign. Okay, so it's going to see this pound sign, and everything after it is just going to ignore it. Okay, so I'm just going to write some comments so I can make this a little more clear. This section was about variables, and this section down below is about user input. The way to capture user input is by input. Okay, now watch what happens when I run this program. Typically, like if I scroll up a little bit more, when I run this program, like I ran it here, and immediately it just boom, it output everything. After you do this, it output everything. It was just like boom in the blink of an eye, it's done. Now, because I have this keyword here called an input, press enter. Ah, silly me, forgot my parentheses. I press enter. Look, it didn't end. the program is still running in the background. Normally, when it ends, you would see this, which you know signals that the program is over, but it's basically pausing, and it gets to this line, line number 22, which is trying to capture my the user's input. So I can say something like, I don't know, input. So now this is just how the user can capture input. It did nothing with the input that I just wrote. I have to store it in a variable, okay? So if I store my input in a variable called user input, I can say something like print the input. Let's do this. The user's input was, okay? So we're basically we're getting input from the user, which is whatever I write, and we're going to store it in a variable, and then we're going to print the sentence with the user's input and output it in our program. Check this out. Boom. Here's some input. The user's input was, here's some unput. Typo. Doesn't matter. Anyways, you guys get the picture. So user input, you use this input right here, this input with the quotations, or sorry, not quotations, the parentheses, just empty parentheses. The program says, all right, now we need to pause the program, wait until we receive input, and then in the program itself, we can store it as a variable and do whatever we want with it. And this is where programming gets kind of fun, where you can actually do something really, really fun, like, hey, what's your name? The program can be very interactive. And I'm gonna delete this. What if I had a print statement? Whoa, I am a program. What is your name? And then we do the input. I'm gonna store it in a variable called name, and then say, nice to meet you with the variable. And I'll add another plus sign with some exclamation marks because this program's really excited to meet you. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's run our program. I am a program. What is your name? You ever seen this meme? My name's Jeff. Nice to meet you. My name's Jeff. Or it's probably more like this. Nice to meet you. My name's Jeff. Because it's an AI. It's a program. It doesn't really know how to, say things properly. Okay. All right. So this is all user input. Let's go back to what we've learned so far. We've learned print statements. We've learned variables. We've learned user input. And now if statements. Okay. A whole nother section. Uh, if statements are fun. They're another big part of programming. Let's put this in quotation marks. If I want to comment, this is a super random. If I want to comment out everything in my program, and if I don't want to delete it, I can do this. Triple quotes, triple quotes, and then I can start from scratch. So this is another way to comment things out, essentially. This is a comment. So everything between these triple quotes is a comment, and I'm going to copy this and paste it because I like it. Actually, I'm not gonna do that. What am I doing? I want to move my triple quotes right here. There we go. Much better. So I just commented out all this code, which basically, um, so we don't have to see all this stuff. It's just repetitive. I don't need it. So let's move on from it. I'm going to keep the part that says, I'm a program. What is your name? Nice to meet you. Name. Okay. And now we're going to talk about if statements. Um, if statements are, it's basically saying, if this thing, then do this. When you say if these things, what are the outcomes? It's either that thing or it's not that thing. Does that make sense? There's only two outcomes. In programming, we'll call that true or false. For example, if this shirt is gray, which it would be true, this is a gray shirt. If this shirt is gray, then say hooray. If I told that to the program, if this shirt is gray, say hooray. The program would say hooray, you know? Um, and if this shirt is red, then go to bed, all right? The program, this would be false. If this shirt is red, well, it's not red, it's false. It would go to bed. Does that make sense? So there's two options, it's either true or false. If this thing is true, then you'll do something. If this thing is false, then you won't do this thing. Um, so let's implement this. Let's implement this in our programming itself. Okay. So if name equals Jeff, print. What do I want to print? I want to say lol. What a meme. All right. Um, so notice with this syntax that I'm using, it's if this is true and you need this semicolon at the end. Is it semicolon? You need this colon at the end. It's just Python syntax. If you don't have it, it'll break. So if the name equals Jeff, print lol, what a meme. Okay. And one last thing to note. Notice that how what is this? It's like four spaces right here. In Python, you need to add some sort of spacing in order for Python to basically say, hey, this print statement is part of this if statement. And I'll show you in a bit, okay? And we'll have another print statement just because our program is nice. It's gonna say, nice to meet you, okay? So now what's gonna happen? It's prompting for the name. Oh, rip. Hello world. Okay. Well, it didn't like that. It's because, oh, yeah, there's triple quotes here. That was silly of me. So basically, I said earlier, everything between this triple quotes and this triple quotes is going to comment everything out. But basically, Python's saying everything between this triple quotes and this triple quotes is a comment, and then everything between this triple quotes and this triple quotes is a comment, which leaves this not being a comment. Python thinks that this is some sort of programming, variables, input, something, and it's trying to read it, and it's failing. So it's saying line 8, hello world, which is right here. It's trying to do this. So I can do this. I can just comment it out, or I could get rid of these triple quotes. Either of those things would work. There you go. I am a program. What is your name? I'm going to say Jerry. Nice to meet you, Jerry. Nice to meet you. So let's go back to the if statement. We're checking if the name is Jeff. We print this. My name wasn't Jeff, so it didn't. What if I say Jeff? There it is. Nice to meet you, Jeff. Lol, what a meme. Nice to meet you. Cool. Does that make sense? So there's two things it can do. If it's true or false. True, it does a thing. If it's false, then it doesn't do the thing. What if um what if it was false? Like if I wrote Jerry, for example, this was false and so it didn't get run, but I still wanted to do something with the name. This is where an else statement comes in handy. We have an else and we'll say print, I'm glad your name isn't Jeff. And guys, just I'm not making fun of anybody. Okay, I mean it's a meme. I apologize. It's a meme. If your name is Jeff, then you have a fun name because it's part of a meme. You make people laugh. Anyways, so what's going to happen here is if the name is Jeff, it'll print this. If it's not Jeff, it's going to jump down here to our else statement, and it's going to say, I'm glad your name isn't Jeff. Nice to meet you. I'll say again. That way, this print statement and this print statement can be a little bit different. Okay, let's run our program. Oops, I need that colon. I have it here. Oh, this is what happens when I don't have a colon. It says syntax error expected colon on line 33. It's very helpful. So, and look, I didn't have this colon. So I got the error. As soon as I add it, save it, no longer get an error. And it's asking for my name. I can say Jeff. Nice to meet you, Jeff. Lol, what a meme. Nice to meet you again. I run it and I say, Jerry, nice to meet you. I'm glad your name isn't Jeff. Nice to meet you again. Awesome. So we have if statements. We have an else statement with which you can't just have an else statement. So if I comment this out and I run the program, it's like syntax error, invalid syntax, else. You need to have an if statement in order to have an else statement. Okay. So that's why we got the error when I commented out. Okay, a third thing, it's an if statement, an else statement, but what if you didn't want to just check if the user's name was Jeff, you wanted there to be options. For example, Jerry. What if the name was Jerry? Well, I could do this. I can say that this is Jerry, and I can change this statement. But what if I wanted to check Jeff and Jerry and have them, handle things separately? L if. Okay. Elif stands for else if, um, actually, colon at the end, if the name equals Jerry, I like Jerry. I don't know. This is just a way for us to define different ways to have actions. If this is true, then do this. Else, if this is true, then do this. Else, do this. Okay, so this is like our default. And then these two things are, things that we're actually checking for in our program. If we run this program, we can do Jeff, lol, what a meme, nice to meet you. If we do Jerry, now it's going to enter this program here and say, I like Jerry. There it is. Ta-da! Um, one thing that I don't really like about this program so far is, there's no empty spaces. Like, it's kind of hard to read all of this stuff. So one thing that you can do with programs, of course, you can add like triple quotes here and here if I wanted to, and like it'll treat this as an empty line and this as an empty line. Let's try it. Yeah, okay, sure. That's nice, but it's like this just looks weird to me. So one thing you can do is is it backslash forward slash? I think it's a backslash n in programming in Python in particularly. This is a keyword that tells the Python to render these two characters, backslash and then n, as a brand new line. So the very first thing that Python will do, it's going to read this and do a space. And you put it at the end as well, and it's going to do an empty space. Okay, and I'm going to save this. Look, we have that empty space, and that's because we have this and this. Okay, there you go. Nice to meet you, Tom. I'm glad your name isn't Jeff. Nice to meet you again. There you go. I'm add this in a few other places too, just to make it a little more clear. Um, whoops. I don't want it to be here. I want this like that. Let's put one here, 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 and here. So everything's gonna have a new line. Tomb. Okay. Lots of new lines. Nice to meet you, Tomb. Glad your name is Jeff. Nice to meet you again. There you go. So brand new lines. Awesome. Let's move on. If statements, check. Last but not least are loops. Okay. Our program is getting a little large. No problem. Loops. Loops are a way basically say, hey, I want you to do this thing until it's all done. For example, if I gave you a basket, or if I told my program, hey, I want you to peel these apples, um, I would have to say, hey, peel apple one, peel apple two, peel apple three. And if there's 10 apples, I would do that 10 times. Or I could say, hey, peel all of these apples until there's no apples left in the basket. Okay. So loops are just you do something until there's a condition that's met, and then you stop. For example, the apples, peel the apples, that's what to do until the condition is met, the condition being the basket is empty. Okay. One thing, there's two different types of loops. One type of loop is a while. While loops, um, like this. While loops can print a number. Okay. And we can create a variable here called number equals 0 while true. Remember how we were talking about if statements, how you either have true or you have false. But this is true. Okay, this is true in Python. So it's going to say while this is true, I want you to print the number until I tell you to stop. And I'm not going to tell it to stop. So let's save this and let's run this. Jeff. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, it's got to be capital T. There you go. There you go. Now it's all red. Stu. Stu. Oh my gosh! Look at this. It's just going. Look at all these zeros. What is happening? Oh my gosh! What did I do? Call the doctor. Call the programming doctor. Call UC coding. So my program is just basically like I said. It's doing this until I tell it to stop. And there's nothing in my program that tells it to stop. So it's going to just run for the rest of its life until my battery dies, and then it's not going to die because it's 70%. And it's on the charger. Or I could do on my keyboard after the Mac, Control C, keyboard interrupt. Control C, this basically just forces my program to stop at any given time if I messed up, and forces it to stop, and it stops. This is gonna go on forever, and in fact, it did. Look at all this. Okay, like my oh my God, my program, it's basically frozen. I'm gonna make a new terminal. There you go. Don't do what I did. My terminal almost froze. Okay, just wanted to give an example of a while loop that just continues on forever. How can I make this while loop stop? Like I say, why don't we just keep on going until the number equals 10? Okay, cool. Um, but once again, like the number, it's never changing its value. So how could I get it to change its value? If I don't change the value, then it's always going to be 0, and it's never going to hit this and evaluate to true. Actually, I don't want this. I don't want it to be 10. I want it to not be equal to 10. For example, number is 0. Basically, what happens is number not equal to 10? Yeah, it's 0. So 0 is not equal to 10. That's a true statement. Okay, enter, print the number. That's basically what's happening. So now we want to increase the number by 1. Here's how we can do that. Plus, sorry, number equals number plus 1. Okay, so at this point, number is 0 plus 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. It's going to store that value here. A number is now equal to 1. Then we're going to get the end of our loop. We're going to go back to the top. 1. Is 1 not equal to 10? True. 1 is not equal to 10. It's going to print the number 1. Now it's going to say 1 plus 1, which is 2. Okay, now set the number 2 to a number and so on and so forth until we get to the number 10. Run our program. Um, Actually, I'm going to comment all this stuff out too because it just takes up space in our program. It doesn't look very nice. It's kind of hard to see. Okay, Python 3, whoops, Python 3. There we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Awesome. Let's see. And I can increase this number to 100 and it'll do it 100 times, so on and so forth. One other way you can do this, you plus equals, does the same thing. Oh, I changed it to 100, so I did it 100 times. Yeah, there's two ways you can do it. This or this way. And I'll put the comma the other way. It's like the old school way. This is the new school way, for cool kids that are named Jeff, Jerry, or not Jeff. Anyway, so this is one type of loop. It's called a while loop. The other type of loop, which can do the exact same thing effectively, I add a few spaces so it's easier to see. It's called a for loop. Um, let's see. Let's see. How do you do these? For I equals 0. That's not right. I 4? Am I crazy? Guys, I don't know how to do a for loop in Python. For loops in Python. What's happening? For variable and iterable variable lists. I see. Yeah, not how I thought. So, just kidding. For loops, we're gonna pause this, pause for loops. Stay tuned for the next episodes because we'll go into we're not gonna go into the essentials, we're gonna go into the essentials plus one, okay? Which is basically the next level. So all in all, in this video, we went over print statements, variables, user input, if statements, and loops. The only loop that we covered is while. And next video, or in the future at some point, we're going to cover um, for loops. Cool. So all in all, what do we learn again? Just going to kind of go over what we've done. Print statements. I see the comments, big comments, individual line comments. You can put comments after your program, your code to and your Python program won't run it. You can print statements, you can print multiple statements, you can print multiple lines within one statement. Variables, you can store variables, you can print variables all in one line. Just use the plus sign to kind of combine it all together. Use your input. Our program was asking about our name. We asked the name, we got the input using the characters, or sorry, the keyword input. We output the input in this variable, and our program was it was very personal, right? Say nice to meet you, and then it kind of like referenced a meme. All right, but overall our program was very nice, right? So print statements, if statements, loops was the last thing we learned. For loops, it allows you to do something until you give it a condition to stop, and in this case we wanted it, hey, I want you to do this until the or while the number is not equal to 10, and we incremented our number here until it equaled to 10, and then it stopped. Okay. So it's all very basic stuff. As we continue to learn programming and software and write more code, we're going to put a lot of these pieces together. And we're actually going to be able to code some pretty complex stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. But anyways, for now, guys, like the video, subscribe, comment, share it to somebody. If you want to learn more, just stay tuned. Other than that, peace.